Okay, this is part 4 of quotes of Carl Jung. So here we go. What on a lower level had led to the wildest conflicts and to panicky outbursts of emotion now looks like a storm in the valley seen from the mountaintop. This does not mean the storm is robbed of its reality, but instead of being in it, one is above it. Yes, you become more objective and detached in your analysis of social situations as you become more knowledgeable about them, more experienced about them. Those who have achieved individuation of personality have thrust themselves up like mountain peaks above their herd. They do not allow themselves to be seized by panic, for panic is already behind them. They are equal to the changing of conditions brought by time. Yeah, you just become wiser. You know how to handle situations better. Carl Jung, intuition is perception via the unconscious. Whoever speaks in primordial images speaks with 1,000 voices. Yeah, like when you quote the Bible or the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans. The majority of my patients consisted not of believers, but of those who had lost their faith. The ones who came to me were the lost sheep. Also, he likes the wounded healer as an archetype, meaning that you learn best how to fix a problem when you've been through it yourself, okay? If you asked me how to handle obesity before I was fat, I wouldn't have been able to help you. But after I had to lose the weight and studied everything about it, I have a pretty good sense of it. That was many years ago. The doctor is effective only when he himself is affected. Only the wounded physician heals. The pains and burdens one bears and eventually overcomes are the source of great wisdom and the healing power for others. And there's some truth in that. I learned about nutrition and weight loss and all this stuff because I had to fix a problem for myself, my father, and my mother. And, I almost think sometimes God put you through a miserable experience in order to teach you something, okay? I just reactivated a cavity, which was a miserable thing. But it motivated me to read through, 5 books so far in dentistry, and I'm learning a lot about dentistry, and I think that's valuable. And I find myself sharing that with people all the time to help them. And that's how it goes. Okay. The therapist must go on learning endlessly. It is his own hurt that gives the measure of his power to heal. When a patient first tells their story, they have a catharsis. In many cases in psychiatry, the patient who comes to us has a story that has not been told and which, as a rule, no one knows of. To my mind, the therapy only really begins after investigation of this wholly personal story. It is the patient's secret, the rock against which he is shattered. If I know his secret story, I then have a key to the treatment. In therapy, the problem is always the whole person, never the symptom alone. Okay, now that's good. Notice how he's talking totally different. He's saying each situation is unique to the individual patient. I have to understand them in order to be able to help them. This is totally different than modern psychiatry, which says, okay, you're in depression category, take this pill, get out of my office. Okay, you are a anxiety person, take this pill, this benzodiazepine, get out of my office. Okay, you're a schizophrenic, get out of my office. No individuality whatsoever, just putting a dirty, insulting label, you're crazy, take this pill and get the hell out of here, okay? That's why psychiatry stinks, and all those pills cause a lobotomy, all right? Versus Carl Jung is talking to you like a wise friend. What's the matter? What can we do about it? What do you think might help? We must ask questions which challenge the whole personality. And you see echoes of this in, cognitive behavioral therapy. You see echoes of this in Carl Rogers' version of psychology. Clinical diagnoses are important since they give the doctor a certain orientation, but they do not help the patient. The crucial thing for the patient is their story. For the story alone shows the human background and the human suffering, and only at that point can the doctor's therapy begin to operate, begin to help. We should not try to get rid of a neurosis, but rather to experience what it means, what it has to teach, what its purpose is. We should even learn to be thankful for it. Otherwise, we pass by it and miss the opportunity for knowing ourselves as we really are. We do not cure it. It cures us. A man is ill, but the illness is nature's attempt to heal him. Yeah, like when I was in med school, I was sad because I didn't feel happy about where I saw medicine going. I didn't see a big opportunity to do something great, to achieve, to accomplish a lot. I just saw myself running around in circles obeying orders. And I was sad until I sort of figured out a path. And that sadness was sending me a signal. You need to figure out what to do. This is not the best thing for you unless you can figure out how to way to make it better. And so your sadness tells you something. Like, you're in love with somebody, they break up with you, and you're sad. But your sadness, in a sense, is good in the sense that it motivates you. What went wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did she do something wrong? Did I just misunderstand her? Did I misunderstand myself? Did I misunderstand our communication? What happened? And understanding what happened enables you to be less likely to repeat the mistake, whatever it was. Carl Jung. But that's great. We do not cure it. It cures us, okay? A man is ill, but the illness is nature's attempt to heal him. Sometimes the emotions a person feels are part of their subconscious mind trying to guide the person to a better approach to overcoming their problems. Okay, Carl Jung, I am not pessimistic about neurosis. In many cases, we can say, thank heaven, about being a neurotic. Neurosis is an attempt at self-cure. It is an attempt of the self-regulating psychic system to restore balance. In no way different from the function of dreams, only rather more forceful and more drastic. The dream should be treated as a fact, about which one must make no previous assumption except that it somehow makes sense. We have forgotten the age-old fact that God speaks chiefly through dreams and visions. What directions the patient's life should take in the future is not ours to judge. We must not imagine that we know better than his own nature, or we would prove ourselves educators of the worst kind. It is better to renounce any attempt to give direction and simply to try to throw relief into everything that the analysis brings to light so that the person can see it clearly and be able to draw their own suitable conclusions. Anything that he has not acquired himself, he will not believe in the long run. And what he takes over from conformity merely keeps him infantile. He should rather be put in the position to take his own life in his own hand. So what he's basically saying is the person has to figure out things for himself. And part of the job of the psychiatrist, psychologist is to sort of reflect back to them what they're seeing, sort of help them to see it more objectively rather than subjectively and emotionally. Okay, so this is all good. And I like what he said too, that God speaks to us chiefly through dreams and visions. You get an idea, you're obsessed about something, you think about it all day long, you can't figure it out. You wake up in the morning, maybe you figure it out in one day, maybe you don't figure it out for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Sometimes it takes longer, but you get that little oomph. It's like your unconscious just sends you a message right when you wake up or right before going to bed. You write it down, and now you know how to solve the problem. Okay, only boldness can deliver from fear, and if the risk is not taken, the meaning of life is somehow violated, and the whole future is condemned to hopeless staleness. Yeah, sometimes you have to go for it, even though you know the risk is big. I like the website called Academy of Ideas. Those were my favorite videos on Carl Jung. There's tons of videos about Carl Jung all over the internet, but I found that to be the best one. I've watched tons of them. I read a bunch of books about him in the past. Okay, that's all I got on Carl Jung. And again, I think he was a giant improvement over Freud. I think he's complementary with Adler. But I do think Christianity, and I think this led to cognitive behavioral therapy, and a lot of people were influenced by Carl Rogers, etc. But I think Christian psychology is the best of it all. But this is all good. It's worth knowing. How do you come to peace with yourself and find yourself whereby your subconscious and your conscious mind are aligned because you know who you are and what you should be doing.